as you know probably, that the canonical literature is a very vast literature, and it comprises many books and volumes. Acharya Sri Tulsi started to work on the canonical literature by first preparing the critical editions of all the 32 canonical texts, and he started the work in 1954, and by 1986 he accomplished a complete critical edition of all the 32 canonical works. Side by side, he also started to translate the canonical texts into Hindi, accompanied with the Sanskrit rendering, which is called Sanskrit Chaya. It is the Sanskrit translation of the text from Prakrit. So there was this kind of edition prepared. There were also critical notes on them. In this way he started this work, and the main colleague he had with him was Acharya Mahapragya, and both of them then worked on the canonical works up to 1997, when Acharya Sri Tulsi passed away. Around about 10 such texts were finished with translation in Hindi and canonical notes. After that, from 1997 to 2010, Acharya Sri Mahapragya continued this work onwards, and some of the texts which were remaining to be completed got accomplished, and especially the very challenging and very exhaustive work was that on Bhagavati Sutra. Bhagavati Sutra, which is also known as Vyakhya Pragyapti, that is another name of the same text, and it is the biggest volume in the size, and also the most difficult work on account of the complications involved in the metaphysical problems which are solved there. This work is a very vast work. Unfortunately, when Acharya Sri Mahapragya passed away, he could complete 4 volumes of Bhagavati Sutra, which were translated into Hindi with Sanskrit rendering and what is called as the Bhashya. Bhashya is the annotation or the critical commentary on it. By that time he had completed 4 volumes, and unfortunately he passed away. The remaining work, before he passed away, he asked me to start round about 4 months before he passed away. And he asked me to start the remaining work. I don't know why did he have this inclination or intuition, because at that time he was healthy, well, and he asked me to continue the work on Bhagavati Sutra, which I started when he was present, and after 4 months he passed away, and I continued this work. Now this work is going on. Now the 5th volume now I have completed, and it is under printing, which I hope will be published by the end of this year, that is 2014.
In Hindi?
In Hindi, with Sanskrit rendering and critical commentary. Bhashya. The 6th volume is also complete, but the final editing is still remaining, and it may take 6 months more. So by the middle of the 2015, I hope that will also be published. Then the last is the 7th volume. That will be the last volume of Bhagavati Sutra. That will take at least 2 to 3 years more to be accomplished. So let us hope that in future it will become accomplished soon. This is what I am doing now with this thing. In the meanwhile, it was thought by Acharya Mahashraman ji that let us first complete the Hindi translation of the whole Bhagavati Sutra. Because if we prepare the critical notes, it takes more time. In round about 20 years, Acharya Sri Mahapragya could complete 4 volumes. It was only half the work. And it means that it will take more time, 14 years. So it will be a very long time. So let us first do the Hindi translation of the text without the commentary. So that I have already completed, and that text has been published in 2 volumes. The complete translation of Bhagavati Sutra in Hindi, that has been published in 2 volumes. So this is what I am working now as far as the translation in Hindi is concerned. Now I have also translated a few canonical texts into English with commentary, which was already in Hindi, but I translated it into English. One of them is Acharya Bhashyam, that is the Acharya Sutra, which is the first canonical text of the Jain literature, and it has been published with English translation and commentary. Then Bhagavati Sutra, the first 2 volumes were translated into English with commentary, and they have been already published. So in this way, in English, we get 3 volumes. One of the Acharya, which is complete, in 2 volumes of Bhagavati Sutra, which includes the first 7 chapters out of the 41 chapters of Bhagavati Sutra. The 4th canonical text, which is near preparation in English, is Suya Gado, which is also called Sutra Kritang Sutra. Sutra Kritang Sutra. The first volume of these texts is near completion, and I hope that it will be also published within the next 3 or 4 months. In English, with commentary, the first volume. The remaining 2 volumes are still under preparation. It may take 1 more year, and then the 3 volumes of Sutta Kritan Sutra will be completed. In this way, this work which I have been doing is going on well with the guidance and blessings, of course, of Acharya Sri Mahashraman ji. He is also very keen to expedite the work, and so he wants that I should spend more and more time in this activity, and I should remain spared from other activities, so that this work is completed.
It's important.
Now the other canonical texts which are left after Acharya Sri Mahapragyaji's passing away have been undertaken by Acharya Sri Mahashraman ji, and in his guidance and in his complete direction, several monks and nuns, especially the nuns, they are busy with completing other canonical works. There is a team of nearly 10 such people who are there, and they are busy with this work, and a few works have already been completed and published in Hindi with Hindi translation, Sanskrit rendering and critical notes. One of them is Upasak Dasham Sutra, which is the 7th canonical text of the literature. It has been completed and published. Then one more is the Nishith Sutra, which has also been completed in the same way, and some other works are going on, and we hope that within 1 or 2 years 4 or 5 more texts will be completed. So the work which was started in 1954 by His Holiness Acharya Tulsi is under good progress. After him, it was Acharya Mahapragya who guided it, and now it is Acharya Sri Mahashraman who is doing this work, and we hope that in his tenure, which will last for a very long time, we shall finish the whole canonical literature, at least in Hindi first, and then also as far as possible in English. That is what I hope.
Nice.
Okay.
And who will be the students studying those texts for the purpose of a formation of which students these texts are worked?
As a matter of fact, the subject of these Jain studies or the Prakrit literature is one of the academic subjects in several universities of India. So the students who are doing their post-graduation in Prakrit literature or in Jain studies, they use these books as the textbooks, and they have been prescribed by several universities in India, and also a few universities in the other countries abroad. They also have started the department of Indological studies.
Yeah.
In that, together with Sanskrit, Prakrit and Pali are also included, and there also these texts are used for the students. Besides this, the students who are doing research in the field of Indology, in the field of Jainology, Jain studies, and in the field of philosophy, These books are very, very useful. There is dearth of such literature with translation and critical notes. And therefore, for all research students, whether they are doing research in philosophy or Indian studies or Jain studies or Sanskrit even, because that has got a very valuable material, so all of them have to utilize these books as their guiding books and consulting books. So all of them use them. So it is a vast application for all of them. Again now, it is also expected that if proper publicity in publication is done of this literature, because this literature contains so much knowledge about Indian philosophy, about Indian culture, and not only that, there are certain facts about the sciences which were developed in ancient India, even physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics, all these things. So for the scholars and the students who want to study ancient knowledge, classical knowledge, so they have to read these books. They must. But unfortunately, at the present, they are not available everywhere. So now we want to make it more publicity so that people can have. Now it is also available online, so people can directly use them and so on. So it is a very challenging work for the whole Jain society, as a matter of fact, that they should pay more attention to propagation or insemination of these canonical works and literature. They may be translated in other languages also by other scholars. That should be also, and efforts should be made, and the other scholars also should be given support for that. Then more publications, more distribution, all these things are necessary so that the teachings of Bhagavan Mahavir, which is in Prakrit, which is in canonical works, becomes available to people of the world at large, and they will get the message. The world needs today non-violence. It needs today anikantavad. It needs today non-possessive, this ethical God, etc. So these are the basic works which contain a vast treasure of knowledge about all these things and practical application of these doctrines in human life, which can solve many global problems. Violence is a very, very, very intricate, very difficult problem nowadays all over the world. The whole world is now trying to find solutions how we can solve this problem of violence. And there are so many problems. Another very, very, very big problem today, universal problem, global problem, burning problem is that of environmental pollution, sustainability of the world, like this. So we have got such principles and application, practical methods, which are all here in these books. So it needs a vast circulation and publication. The whole Jain society, the people of the Jain society, the educated people, the rich people, if they think that this is our prime duty to inseminate, to propagate this literature among the world, among the scholars,
Yes.
it should be made available. Then it will be very much helpful for the whole mankind. So this is what I want the people who are interested, the people who know the value is very valuable treasure that people can have. So let us see that how in the future people make the efforts to propagate this literature, and then in this way you can find the concrete solutions to the burning problems of the mankind today.
Thank you very much.
Please have mercy. Wonderful. Thank you so much.